colleagues from all levels of government. It is my great pleasure, audience and the management of the mall. It is my great pleasure to be here today with you. First of all, to bring greetings from the Premier of Ontario and the Cabinet, and also as the representative of the Scarborough Agent Court, the provincial representative of Scarborough Agent Court, I would like to welcome all of you to this great riding. So the Premier sends his best wishes on this occasion so that we can bring greetings and healing in Ontario to the Chinese community, because healing is a very important issue in all our lives. Someone who comes from an Armenian and Greek background, where my two sides of the family witnessed a genocide, the Greek genocide and the Armenian genocide, I know what it means to have healing. And healing cannot happen without recognition, without bringing justice to the victim and their descendants. Because even though my own people genocide happened 108 years ago, I still feel the trauma of that genocide, the same way as you, a Chinese descendant of the Exclusion Act, you feel the trauma every time that your tragedy, your unjust treatment has not been confronted and educated, and we bring justice to the Chinese community all over Canada. And that is very important, because as I said, without healing there is no reconciliation. And that is very important element in human psyche. Because as the most famous genocide scholar stated, the last act of any genocide or any crimes against humanity is the denial aspect. When someone starts questioning the Exclusion Act, the treatment of your ancestor in Canada, that means they are denying the facts. They are denying history. And that's why it is very important to tackle this issue head on, the denial aspect. And after that, we move to the next stage, the next phase of this healing, and that is education. I am quite happy to inform you that with my good colleague, former citizenship judge Nancy Sue, we are working on a few measures with the provincial government, with the Minister of Education, to address this issue. Last year, we brought and passed the Anti-Asian Hatred Act, Education Act, to implement in our schools those experiences that your own people went through. And I am working with Minister Lecce on how to make this issue become integral part of our education system in Ontario. I was also pleased that I made a statement in the House recently and bringing the Chinese Exclusion Act issue, the unfair treatment of the Chinese community members, to the attention of my colleagues in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario. And we are also exploring a means to make a permanent presence, permanent tribunal, permanent monument in Ontario, in Toronto especially, to commemorate this act. And we have two different approaches. One of them is to plant a tree on the Legislative Assembly, the Queen's Park property, to commemorate the Chinese Exclusion Act. But also we have another way to approach it, and that is to create an actual monument in Ontario, in Toronto, to commemorate this act. So, dear friends, these measures are not only to address the concerns of the Chinese community and bring justice to the Chinese community. We're doing it for sake of our own society, regardless of where we come from, which what country we came from, what language, what religion, what facial expressions we have. It is important for our society to learn from the mistakes of the past. Because if we learned from the Chinese Exclusion Act at that time, we will not have the internment camp issues in the Second World War. And it goes on. Because also, we will not have, if we learn from the Chinese Exclusion Act, we would have not repeated the St. Louis ship tragedy with the Jewish people or with the Sikh people that they were also. So that's why it is very important for us as a society to address the issues of the past, to learn from the issues of the past, so that no future generations in Canada will go through the same experience that your people and other ethnic communities went in Canada. And that is very important issue. Because I strongly believe no society is immune from hatred, racism, xenophobia. You just need one firebrand individual to mobilize communities against communities. And that is why we need to work together. We need to educate the future generations that this issue of hatred towards any other ethnic group in Canada, in Ontario, it's not tolerable. It's not the Canadian way to do it. We came together from different parts of the world. We came from different backgrounds, different regions, different languages, different ethnicity, different religion. We came together to build this country. The Chinese people were the physical builders of Canada with the Pacific Railway. Other communities came and added on that. And they built Canada to what is today the best country in the world, envy of the world. I came to this country as a refugee. And look today where I am. I served as a citizenship judge with my colleague Nancy. I am serving my second term as a member of the provincial parliament. So Canada has its own potential, its own future, and we are all part of it, that future. And that's why we need to work together. We need to build this country together so that we will not be tolerating any human rights abuses down the road. I know I spoke too much because this issue is very close to my heart and I can go on and on, but for the sake of saving time and providing my other colleagues the opportunity also to say a few words, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be here with you, to stand with you in solidarity, and I will be always with you, and my office is always open for any suggestion, any issue you would like to raise. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Sheshe.